a very, very good afternoon to each one of you. Warm, warm welcome, and apologies for keeping you waiting. I think our MC is just having a little bit of technical problem trying to sort out. And in the meantime, we will start, and we hope that you are all keeping well in this time. You and your families are well, are safe, and taking care. So a lovely program. I won't take too much time, but for those of you who are not familiar with the Brahma Kumaris and are on the program for the first time, so just a brief introduction on the Brahma Kumaris. The Brahma Kumaris is a spiritual organization worldwide. It's an organization that serves in all different faiths, supporting all different religious faiths, leaders, etc. And also we have centers throughout the world. There's centers present in all different countries, over 100 countries that we are present, and there's more than 8,000 centers worldwide. And today, a lovely, lovely program, Flourishing. Sorry, I just need to get the topic in order. I was so unprepared for this, but just trying to get the topic in order for you. So to just share a little bit, and just a moment, sorry. So the topic is welcoming a season of flourishing. Welcoming a season of flourishing. So a beautiful, beautiful season whilst we're just starting spring, and all the lovely greenery, the flowers, everything, and also we too, having been through a journey with COVID, with lockdown, and we're going to take tools today where we're going to flourish and grow and see the beauty for the future and a way forward. Also, I want to really, we have the honor of having our sister Judy with us, who's her programs are so full, but yet she has made the time and given us time so that she can share her valuable treasures and resources, learning over the years, being with the Brahma Kumaris and being a facilitator for 35 years, who has worked as a facilitator and coaching consultant in experimental learning, leadership development, and organizational effectiveness. She works with government, private and community-based organizations, internationally and locally. She holds a Bachelor of Social Work and a Master's of Adult Education. Judy is known for her insight and her ability to go into the depth of a subject in a light and entertaining manner. She uses a balance of reflective, creative, and interactive activities to assist individuals and groups to use their natural wisdom, talents, and inner power to create and sustain constructive forward momentum in their organizations. And today you'll have a great, great experience of the creativity, etc. of Judy Johnson. She is an author of 5 books, including a young adult novel she wrote with her 2 daughters, The 7 Secrets of the Universe in 2014 and Beautiful Thoughts 2019, and co-author A to Z Spiritual Literacy 2016, Living as Art 2018, and Return to Source, The God Experience 2020, including a youth novel written with their 2 daughters that's repeated. She coordinates the activities of the Brahma Kumaris in Halifax, Canada. And you're going to have a great, great afternoon, I know, with all our experiences with our sister Judy over the years, being with her and experiencing all the creative side and talents you will enjoy. So warm, warm welcome, Sister Judy. And I hand over to you now. Thank you so much.
Hello. Thank you, Shirley. I know that's not the easiest thing for you to do. You did so well. You did so well.
Oh, thank you.
Bless you. Boy, that's an example of resilience, isn't it? You stepping in like that at the last minute. Well done, Cheryl. Lovely. Lovely. So hello, everyone.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you.
It's yeah, as I was listening to you, I could feel the energy, Cheryl, of flourishing, and I could feel the energy of you going into spring. I don't know why. Maybe because we're going into winter and we're just now going into lockdown. That it was, I could feel it in your voice, the joy of the springtime. So hello, everyone. I see names of old friends, which is very nice to see people that I know and have met in South Africa. So hello, everybody. Nice to see you. Nice to be with you. I will share my screen in a moment, but I wanted to show you, planning for this little session, I had asked Pratibha if she would send me pictures of South African flowers. So I will show you those pictures in a minute. But yesterday, the 2 daughters that are now young adults sent this bouquet of flowers to me. And I don't know if you can see it, but they're loaded with protea, which we never get in Canada. I mean, it just doesn't grow here. And here I get this bouquet out of the blue. I've never had a bouquet with protea in it. And it arrived yesterday, just when I was thinking of all of you. So what a wonderful thing. So I'm really glad to be with you today. And like I said, I'll go out for a walk later, but I'll have to put on a hat and gloves and a big warm coat because we have just started winter. So it's perfect to be thinking of flourishing, especially for you where you are in South Africa. I know not all of you are in South Africa watching this, but most of you are. So I don't know if you can see me and see this, but I wanted to just start with some pictures. Can you see me too? Is it okay? Yes, okay, great, okay. Yes, you can. Okay, great. Okay, so thank you. Thank you. As many times as I do this, I still find it a bit mystifying. It's like magic. Okay, so here were some of the pictures that Pratibha sent me. I'll tell you a bit about this session. Thinking about flourishing, what I'm going to explore today with you is the different levels of resilience. And because I've been studying them over the years, you know, it's a word that became popular about 25 years ago was the word resilience. But since then, flourishing has become a word. And I love that word so much. And it makes me think of flowers. It really makes me think of blooming and blossoming. And it's actually a metaphor that we use here a lot in the Brahma Kumaris, is to think about being a flower, which is kind of a funny thing, but I love the thought of being a flower and blossoming and blooming and going from a bud into a full blossom. So I brought some pictures, thanks to Pratibha, of flowers, South African flowers that should be blooming at this time. And I'm going to ask you, as I show you all these flowers, if you can pick a favorite. And I'm calling them flourishing flowers. Okay, so I think I have 7. And once I'm done the 7, you'll see all of them again. So take your time and select which one for you really appeals, really lights you up when you look at it. So here we go. Protea. Looking at my bouquet. This is pretty uniquely South African. Maybe it grows in other places, but when I was there, I was amazed at these flowers. They're massive, they're gorgeous, they're everywhere. So we start with them. I think this is called a fire flower, fire something. I don't know all the names, but I know they're South African. So there's a little ant on that one. That's quite a full bloom. These we don't get here. They look like a watermelon to me with a little purple, you know, tutu around them. I don't know what those are called, but those are uniquely South African. And this, all over South Africa, at least where I was, I saw these, maybe not everywhere. These, I think this is a daisy, but it's called a South African daisy. I think that's a frangipani, pretty sure. And this might be another protea. That just, you know, just because I love them. This looks a lot like the one in my bouquet. So there we go. We've got them all. You've seen them all. I'm going to ask you to pick which one of these speaks to you today. Which one feels like a perfect sort of example of flourishing for you? Pick the one you like. And I'm going to ask you to write 3 or think of 3 reasons why this is beautiful for you. So what is the beauty of this flower for you? Now, some of you are on Zoom, I think, here in the room, but I think some of you are sitting somewhere in a on Facebook, maybe Facebook Live, so you're not able to chat box. But for those of us that are able to chat box, if you can say which flower you picked, type it in and why. And if you're on Facebook and you're just watching this, if you can write down 3 qualities that you like about this particular flower, the one you've selected, it will be important later. So if everybody can just pick a flower and then 3 qualities that you like, 3 qualities that make that flower beautiful for you. So thank you. Marika's begun. Daisy, delicate, detailed, and unique. Oh, lovely description. The frangipani, serene, fragrant, peacefully beautiful. The white one, I think the frangipani is the white one. Shows purity. Protea. It always blooms. It's predictable and it blooms for a very long time. Isn't that a great reason to love the protea? It blooms. It's predictable. Yes, it blooms for a long time. I suspect in my bouquet it will be the one that lasts the longest. They're the ones. I've got 4 of them. And the frangipani. So the fragrance of the frangipani makes it a favorite for, yeah, fragrance. Okay. So how do you feel when you look at these flowers? Don't you just feel good inside? The daisy radiating outwards, yet it has a strong center. That's true, isn't it? Very nice. All right, anything else? The purple outline with the red inner, which is that one? Yes, okay, this one up in the corner here. It's very attractive, eye-catching, like a butterfly ready to fly. It's true, isn't it? It has a feeling of movement in it. Yeah, lovely. Radiating outwards. The frangipani reminds of pure sunshine. So I hope I got it right. I hope these are all South African flowers, because I did sort of, wander after Pratibha sent me the links, and I went here and there. Pretty. All right. So thank you, everyone. There's something about flowers that is, I don't know, it's quite nourishing, actually, to see flowers. We always have bouquets here in the Brahma Kumaris Center, and I know they do all over the world. And there's something about the beauty that awakens something in all of us. And we know here that that's our own inner beauty that is awakened. And yet still, the catalyst is I'm so appreciative for the catalyst of having these beautiful flowers to remind us of flourishing. So if you'll keep those 3 qualities, this will be important for you as we move along in this process. But what is the one thing they all have in common, all these flowers, is they all, no matter how unique and distinct each of them is, they all require the warmth of the sun. And here we have the image of the sun, but also the spiritual sun. So today we, the little blossoms, the little blooms, the little flowers in God's garden of humanity, we are blossoming. And we all require the warmth of the sun, and we require the love of the spiritual sun, but also love of our own self and the warmth of the wisdom inside each of us in order to grow. So today, what I'd like to do is I'd like to explore the conditions, what helps us grow, what helps us flourish, like these beautiful flowers we have just seen. And I'll show you some other pictures as we move along. But in particular, I'd like to share something from the study of resilience that I've been kind of working on for a long time. And as I said, resilience, I think it was probably the late 70s, 80s. We began to hear the word, but not until really the 90s did it take on meaning. And then start of this millennium, start of the 2000s, the word resilience became very popular. And I've been watching it since then, because in my work as a consultant in organizations with leaders and with groups to help them function better together, it really overlaps with the individual flourishing as well. It's the same principles required for an individual, a group, an organization. And so my meditation practice and my study with the BKs has really helped me understand resilience at a very at a much deeper level, much more organic and natural level. And I guess one of the things that has struck me in the last 20 years of this resilience movement is that we are now beginning to see different layers, almost like different levels of resilience. And I mean, nobody's written about levels of resilience, but this is sort of me pulling out, having watched this field for a long time now, pulling out what feels like 3 very natural and distinct levels in our development of resilience. And I'd like to share that with you today and see how that resonates with you. So the first level, I think we all know this meaning of the word resilience. It's essentially us in life as we move through life and facing the storms that are kind of always there. Our ability to bend, our ability to flow, our ability to flex, but in particular to bounce back. And this was the first sort of core meaning of resilience when it began. It was a researcher, a social service person actually in Hawaii, that began the study of resilience. And she noticed in these indigenous families in Hawaii that many of the children raised in tough situations, the families that she worked with, she noticed that some of them just repeated the patterns of their parents or the environment that they had been raised in. But she also noticed that some of the children, although they'd been brought up with violence or they'd been brought up with challenges that, would break some, that some of the children instead actually thrived. They bounced back and they did really well. So this idea that resilience is my capacity to bounce back and keep going in difficult situations or after a trauma or after life challenge. This is the first understanding and sort of the starting level for the studies or the research we've been doing into resilience for the last 20 some years. And I started thinking about this a couple of years ago because I thought, many of us bounce back, and isn't it a fortune that we can bounce back? That says something amazing about us, that we can bounce back, that we can get up and keep going, that we can cope, that we can find ways to move forward. And I honor that. It's such a beautiful capacity. And I feel in a way fortunate, those of us that have this capacity. It's like somehow we got that capacity. I don't know where or how, but the perseverance to plug on, to keep going is remarkable. And the early research says, you can develop this capacity. You can actually get better at this. You can learn how to bounce back. And so we've got methods for changing our thinking. We've got faith-based community support, fitness, eating well, all of the things that allow a person to keep a capacity, to have, I guess, enough inner resource that they're able to use that capacity when tough times come. But the thing about this bouncing back level of resilience is that those of us that have great coping skills, at a certain point in time, we actually just get really tired. And actually coping kind of gets in our way for breaking through to another level. So if you're always coping, if you're always head down, plodding on, keep going, don't look up, in a way, it works against us at some point. So yes, we can bounce back, and that's wonderful. But at a certain point, it actually just gets really exhausting to just be bouncing back all the time. I was asked to do a session a little while about emotional resilience, and it was really interesting for me to discover in that session, because we learn probably more ourselves doing these sessions. I realized that the thing in emotional resilience, the thing that I'm bouncing back from is my own emotions, which can be pretty intense. And I thought it's exhausting to bounce back from my own emotions. So bounce back resilience is the first level. Once we get tired with this, we really want to move to the next level of resilience. And this is relatively new. There was a book that came out called Flourish, which is what this session kind of is inspired by, is this word, flourishing. And actually, there's another book called Thrive. So the whole idea that after bouncing back, actually, maybe there's this other level for resilience. And this other level is actually to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive, to flourish, to grow, to blossom, and to develop my full potential as a human being. Now, doesn't that sound so much more inviting than just bouncing back? So this is the next level. And this is the flower imagery, actually, that we can flourish and blossom. So today we're going to explore this, but I want to share with you the next level because this is my aim. Yes, to thrive, not just survive, to flourish, to grow, and to blossom. But there's this whole other level that's entered the common consciousness now, the collective consciousness, which comes from a very unusual place. And I think it's quite fascinating. This gentleman wrote a book. Oh, I'm going backwards. Wrote a book called Anti-Fragile. Nassim Nicholas Taleb. And this book, Anti-Fragile, he explores the paradox of how negative things not just make you stronger, but actually bring benefit, untold benefit to you. And so Nicholas has just arrived. I can't believe that, Nicholas. Do I have to go back and do? Oh, sorry. I think I must have muted. Did I mute?
Sorry, Judy, I did that by mistake.
Am I back on again?
You're back on, yes.
Okay, thanks, Nita Ben. So this gentleman is actually an economist and a very accomplished mathematician. And he started studying fragility. So I won't go into full detail on this. The book is really fat and it's full of statistics. And I had to sort of glare over those parts and read the in-between bits to understand what he's talking about. I'll give you a really simple example. He talks about things that actually benefit from difficulties. So one of the examples is people who want to become famous, they hire publicists who can put out bad media about them. And then as soon as the bad media goes out, then they get all of the attention they wanted, and then their fame, their popularity rises. Anyways, this is just a social example of this. But the point he was making, which I liked and I think is very relevant for us, I would like to be anti-fragile. I would like to be so stable and so steady and so unshakable, unbreakable that, you know, like the bamboo, I can kind of flow and move, or like water, I can flow around things. I can't be broken. But the concept that he has written about came from the insurance industry, where he used to do, they do risk assessment, and then they do these very complicated mathematical equations to calculate the probability of risk. So this is what our insurance premiums, I'm not a mathematician, you know, forgive me if I'm getting some of these details wrong, but the concept is that we look at how probable is an event. And then when we calculate insuring someone for that event, the amount of money that they pay for their premium is based on this probability equation. So if you live in an earthquake zone and it's very probable you will experience an earthquake, then, you know, the premium has to be pretty high. If you're an 18-year-old young man and you're getting your first car, what's the probability of an accident? Relatively high for that age group, just based on statistics. So the calculation of the insurance policy will be based on your probability of getting into an accident, just statistically speaking. So what happened in the insurance industry, apparently, is that so many things began to happen, natural calamities, acts of God, etc., which we know God didn't do. I just have to put that plug in there, but they call it that in the insurance industry. These natural calamities began to occur, and they realized that they can no longer calculate on the basis of the probability of a negative event. Now they start calculating on the basis of the person or the car or the house or the whatever, their fragility or their anti-fragility. So how stable is this person? How good a driver is this person? How earthquake resilient or resistant is your house? And then they make the calculation for insurance policies on that basis, not on the basis of the probability of a negative event. And I think we all understand negative events are everywhere and they seem to be increasing all the time. So really thinking about the events and avoiding the events is a bit of an impossibility right now. But looking at how stable I can be, how anti-fragile I can be, is really kind of where it's at. So that's the next level in the resilience world, as I am hearing it being spoken of and being studied. So first level, bounce back. Second level, thrive and flourish. Third level, unshakable in the face of anything. Doesn't that sound great? So our aim, anti-fragile, at least my aim, is to be up there. You know, in the BKs, we talk about it as being unshakable, immovable, stable, a beacon of light, like a lighthouse. It doesn't fall over. These are all images we use, which are so beautiful. But so those are the 3 levels of resilience as I have seen them and read about them. So we, of course, would like to know, how do I move up? How do I move up? I'd like to move up. I'd like to do more than just bounce back. I'd like to thrive. And from flourishing and thriving, I'd like to become unshakable. So that's what this session is actually about. How do I move from one level up to the next? And the secret is really fertilizer. So we're going to come back to this slide in a minute. To become, I missed a, okay, got it backwards. So in order to move from the first level of resilience up to the level of thriving or flourishing, I actually have to reflect. I have to take time to reflect and make meaning of my lived experience, what I have been through. A trauma unreflected upon does not give me the wisdom I need to go further. So wisdom is actually the fertilizer for my flourishing, for my growth. And the only way I can draw wisdom from my lived experience is if I reflect, if I make meaning. Now, reflect is different than cogitating, remembering, ruminating, telling the story of my negative experience. That's not reflecting. Reflecting is to draw the meaning from it. And we understand as meditators that I grow what I pay attention to. So it'll be a blurry mess in my mind, or I will have a flower garden in my mind, depending on what I'm paying attention to. But we also know, and this is what I've recently discovered actually, is that to become anti-fragile, you need a regular personal practice. And that's not something I can do for you in an hour's workshop, or anyone can do for anyone else. That in order to move to the level of being unshakable, you actually have to be regularly accumulating inner power. And so this is a personal practice, be it a prayer practice, a meditation practice, a yoga practice that includes yoga of the mind as well as the body, but it has to be a regular daily practice. So in this session, we can invite to the anti-fragile level. And those of you that do have a practice, this is where that practice fits in the resilience world, the languaging of the resilience world. But for today, what I'd like to do is just especially do this. I'd like to just reflect back over whatever you have lived through in your winter period. I'm coming out of a pretty happy summer period. However, we have been on lockdown for a very long time here, which is why we have very few COVID cases. We've got 20 cases in this place where I live, which is not very many, and it's a lot for us. So we're all quite concerned about it. But so, you know, whether it was a good summer or a bad summer, we've all had challenges over the last month. So the purpose of this afternoon is I'd really like just to explore some of the wisdom that you have gained from these last months, especially as you enter the spring period there in South Africa. And for that wisdom to be fertilizer for your own growth. The wisdom is the fertilizer for thriving and resilience. So I hope that makes sense. I'm not really able to get much feedback, but yeah, chat box if there's any questions. And I may be able to see the chat box, but otherwise, does that all make sense? 3 levels of resilience, and from the first to the second is based on your ability to reflect and draw wisdom. So that's where we're going to go today with this. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to ask you to pick. I've got 5 or 6 or 7 quotes here that come from the flourishing world. Some of the studies of flourishing, so thriving, beyond surviving to thriving. And I'm going to show you these quotes, and I'm going to ask you to pick the one that best describes for you the wisdom that you have gained from your winter experience. And I imagine we were all in different situations these past months. Whatever your situation has been, these quotes are a bit of a catalyst for you to reflect on your experience of these past months. So pick one quote that best describes the wisdom you've gained from your winter, and I will show them to you once and then go back and show again, and you can write down. So first of all, just hear them all so you can know which one best works for you. Here we go. First one, you gotta nourish to flourish. Next one, the only point is to flourish and to aid the flourishing of others. Next one, grab your brave self and get ready to flourish. Next one, you gotta stop watering dead plants. I have watered dead plants before. It doesn't really make a difference. This one, and the day came when the risk to remain in a tight bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Next one, fall 7 times and stand up 8. And the last one, let the beauty of what you love be what you do. Okay, I'm going to go back and do them one more time. And if you can write down, if you kind of know now which one is yours, if you can write down which one of these wisdom quotes reflects the wisdom that you have gained from these previous months, especially in South Africa in this winter period you've been through. So I'll do them in silence now so you can write down which one most reflects the wisdom you have gained in the last months. So there may have been more than one of these quotes that reflects the wisdom of recent months. But if you just select the one, and I can imagine that there's a story that goes with whatever you have selected, because this wisdom comes to us very often from tilling the soil. You know, the fertilizer has to get worked into the soil, and it also is sometimes hard gained, this wisdom. So whichever one you have chosen, hopefully you have written it down for yourself. It will be important for the next step that you are able to remember this quote as kind of a slogan for you from these last months. And you and only you will know the story behind this wisdom. So, a moment to honor where this wisdom came from, because it will have been through lived experience. Okay, we'll come back to that, but if you'll keep your slogan with you for the next little bit, I'm going to ask you another question now, and it's going to be a shift of focus, a very quick shift of focus. And here's the question. I'd like you to remember a moment of flourishing this spring. So those of you living in other parts of the world are not in springtime right now, but those of you in South Africa will remember coming into this spring period where you begin to see the flowers again. And I'd like you to just take a moment and remember a feeling, a moment of flourishing. Could have been just seeing the flowers coming back, and whatever that feeling was inside, it could have been getting out and doing something you've not been able to do. It could be anything. It could be the smallest, simplest thing, or it could be something grand. But whatever it is for you, take a moment to remember this. And I'd like you to tell yourself the story of that moment of flourishing as if you were telling it to a group. So take a minute now on your own and just remember that moment of flourishing and relive it as if you were telling the story of it to a group. And as you do that in your mind, I'd like you to identify 2 or 3 highlights from that experience. I'll leave you each alone in your own minds for a moment now to do that. Okay. Hopefully you're now filled with the feelings of that flourishing moment as you have reflected on it. And now I would like you to consider the flourishing moment in relation to your slogan, to one of these quotes that you selected. I would like you to put the 2 together in your mind now and see how they are related to each other. See the connection between the 2. You don't have to share it, but just think about it. What is the connection between your flourishing moment and the wisdom quote you selected? Okay, so hopefully you're seeing the connection between the wisdom gained and this moment of flourishing. I'm going to ask you now, we're going to go off into small groups in about a minute. So I think Nita might be putting us in small groups. You should find yourself in a small group of 3. Now, I know those on Facebook Live will not be able to meet in small groups. So you're going to have about 20, 25 moments on your own, either to write or to do what you do wherever you are. But those who have joined us on Zoom, and if you would like to join in a small group, now is the time to connect by Zoom, to join, click on the Zoom link and join the gathering, because then you could enter into a small group. I was asked in this workshop that we would create time for small group conversation. And something that I've noticed in this COVID, it's been very nourishing to be in small groups. And this Zoom platform very easily provides that opportunity for us. So we're going to go into small groups now to share both our wisdom quote, whatever the wisdom was, and the flourishing, and especially how they connect to each other. And we'll be there I found that 3 people, 23 minutes is usually the right amount of time, but we'll go for 25. So we'll meet back here at 1/2 the hour or just after. I think Nita is able to send you a little reminder, 5 minutes when it gets close. But when you get into your small groups, Africa, but always the spring of the soul. Right now is the spring of the soul for all of us. COVID was a blessing in disguise. We all had time out to reflect. Beautiful. When I share with others, I flourish. Thank you, John. Yes, this has been a bit of whether it's an enforced learning opportunity or whether we take it willingly or we struggle with it, it certainly has been an opportunity for deeper reflection if we wanted to take that. Yeah. Anyone else? We flourished since lockdown started. Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, anyone else? Feel free just to chat box if you like. COVID is a time for spirituality. Yeah, I would say that's definitely been true for me as well. And anyone else, feel free to put something. Okay. So I'd like us to move into a bit of meditation, but just before we do that, we did something very, very simple here. All we did was we had a catalyst to reflect on the wisdom of our lived experience. And this is what helps us go from just coping to flourishing, right? It's understanding that that the wisdom that I gain from reflecting on my own lived experience is fertilizer for my growth. And the thing is, we don't all reflect. It's not all that easy to do, but we have to make meaning of our experiences in order to create the fertilizer for growth. Simple questions that I ask myself every day. What stands out from my experience today? Why? What can I learn from it? And how can I use this to thrive? 3 very simple questions, but I ask them every day of myself. It's sort of my evening check is what stands out for my day, and what stands out for my experience. Could be for the day, could be for the month, could be of this season, could be of my life. And what's the significance of it to me? What can I learn from that? And how can I use this? I have a friend who asks these questions of herself every day, and I love these questions. Today, what surprised me? What inspired me? What challenged me? And what did I learn? Pretty much anything that happened to you in your day would fit in one of these 4 categories. And if you end your day with only the 3rd category, what challenged me today, you know it's worth a little stretch to find something that surprised or inspired you, and definitely to take a learning away at the end of the day. Oh, somebody's written in a beautiful long. Oh, she couldn't get into a group, Carol. Oh, dear. Just to know that you can gain wisdom from your experience is fertilizer. Wonderful. It's good timing. I know these BK sisters and brothers, they really know how to feel the pulse and respond. So here's some questions to ask yourself. What surprised me, inspired me, challenged me? What did I learn? All right, so reflection's the key, and that's different than just thinking about my day. It's actively discovering the wisdom from my day, from my lived experience, so I can use it. So let's do a little meditation to end, and you're going to have to remember your flower. I love this image of drawing sun. So here I am. The soul is the bud, the little tiny bud that's going to blossom, and it's going to blossom in the light of my own wisdom, the light of this, the energy from my own learning, and definitely in the light from the Supreme Sun. So let's do a little meditation, but to do it, you're going to have to remember your flower, which I don't think will be too hard for all of you since we're in flourishing mode. And I'm going to ask you to remember the 3 qualities you liked about that flower. So in my case, the protea was the hardy, open, and strong is what I see in the protea. So whatever your 3 qualities were, I'm just going to ask you to remember what was your flower, what were the 3 qualities you liked about your flower, because we're going to put those together in a sentence. And the sentence looks like this. Like the protea or the daisy or the bird of paradise or whatever you picked, like this flower, I am. And put your 3 qualities there, okay? So like this flower, I am. I remember some of you said delicate, fragrant, meaning not that you smell nice, but that your energy is lovely to be around. That's what fragrant would mean in a spiritual sense, right? Some of you said delicate, some of you said fragrant. I can't remember all the others, but you'll remember yours. So if you can make this sentence, we're going to take this sentence with us into our meditation. So you'll have to remember your flower and remember your 3 qualities. We'll take that into our meditation as we sit in the sun. Just allow the sun to touch the soul so that I can flower and blossom, okay? And then I'm going to read aloud to you a blessing, a good wish for each of you, depending on the flower you picked. So we will end our meditation with that blessing. So at one point in the meditation, I'll ask you just to open your eyes and see if that's your flower, and then I will read aloud. Okay? So if you're ready for a nice little meditation, just get yourself seated comfortably wherever chair you're sitting in. And hopefully you're in a bit of a quiet place, or you've got your earphones in, so you can just be with yourself. And let's begin just with a deep breath so that we We ground ourselves in the body, so deep breath in and releasing it slowly. Another deep breath in. Breathe in fresh energy. And through the mouth, release anything old or stale. Another deep breath in. Breathe in the energy of this session and the beauty of learning community that's been offered to you today, and release into peace. And just feel your body against the chair, comfortable, quiet, relaxed. Do a body scan. Always good to start with a body scan, and just release any tension from anywhere in your body. It's always good to check the legs and the stomach and the chest, and usually the shoulders need to be released. The hands and the arms. It's very good just to leave your hands open, palms open. It's very open posture. And check your mouth, your jaw, relaxing that. Softening your face, your neck, of course, releasing your neck. And now as you sit quietly, just become aware of what it's like to be in a body that's relaxed. As your breathing becomes gentle and quiet, become aware of this body that carries you. Just give it love for a moment, giving it a little time out by allowing it to relax. The breathing is gentle and quiet and regular. I'm going to ask you to concentrate your attention now and see if you can hear your heart beat. It's amazing, no matter what the ambient noise around you, can concentrate our awareness to such a fine point that I zero in on the heartbeat. Beautiful. And this concentrates all the energy of thought that's usually racing in a million directions in my head, concentrates all that thought energy to the tiny point. So you can visualize from your heart up to the center of your forehead, behind the eyes, where the soul sits in this body, in the brain, the software inside the hardware, the still point. And this is me, the being in this human body, the thinker, the one who notices, the one who listens, the one who observes, and the one who makes meaning. As you breathe in, release into this awareness of yourself as a tiny, sparkling being of spiritual light energy. I'd like you to imagine that you're sitting quietly in a room in your head. You might hear sounds coming in from the outside world, but in this room in your head, it's very quiet, very peaceful. You're safe, and you're free just to be with yourself and to be yourself. I'd like you to see in front of you where the eyelids are, a beautiful screen. And on this screen, I'd like you to see the image of that flower you have selected in this meditation. And just bring to mind the image of that flower. See the color, see the shape. You can kind of feel the texture with your mind as you imagine the texture. Perhaps there's a fragrance. It's probably not a sound. Just hold this beautiful image in your mind for a moment. This is a symbol of flourishing, symbol of beauty, really a reflection of your own inner beauty. And now I'd like you to see if you can remember those 3 qualities you loved about the flower. And I'm going to ask you to repeat your sentence in your mind. So, like this flower, you can say protea if you know the name, like the daisy, frangipani, whatever. But if you don't know the name, or just say like this flower, I would like you to say to yourself, like this flower, I am. So in my case, hardy, beautiful and strong, something like that. So just say your sentence to yourself, like this flower, I am, and say those qualities. You can do that quietly now in your mind. Take a deep breath in. And now say your sentence one more time to yourself. Like this flower, I am. And just allow yourself to experience those qualities as you say them in your mind. Take another deep breath in. And now one final time, say your sentence again, and this time just become those qualities, just melt into the experience. So like this flower, I am. Say your sentence one final time now, and just sink into the experience. Just check your breathing and check and see how you feel right now inside. Essentially, you've just come deep inside to yourself to meet the core strength, the core beauty of you, the soul, in these qualities. And this is essentially what you want to feed, what you want to nourish with the fertilizer of the wisdom of your lived experiences, but in particular with the warm gaze of your own attention. Just turning to look within is like shining the sun on my own qualities. And as I read aloud to you the qualities or the special blessing, the special good wishes that you will receive with the flower you've chosen, the rest of us will listen, and even though this one isn't for us, we can send the sun, the warmth of our good wishes to all of those that selected this flower and are receiving these words to feed the soul, to honor the soul, to shine a light on the soul. And when it becomes my turn, and I am hearing spoken to me the words that go with the flower I have chosen, if I can just sit and feel as if the Son of God, the bright sunlight, the warmth from the supreme light of God is shining down on my original qualities so that they may grow and I may flourish, which is the season we are in now, season of flourishing. So those of you who picked the protea, your words, you flourish with generosity of spirit, always making space for others to change and relieving your own heart of the burden of expectations. I'll read it again. Those of you that selected Protea, you can close your eyes and just feel as if the sun shining down on you from God is really printing these words in your heart. You flourish with generosity of spirit, making space for others to change and relieving your own heart of the burden of expectations. The rest of us will shine the light of our good wishes on you. Now, those of you that selected the fire flower, fire something, this red flower, you can close your eyes if you like and just listen to the words, because these words are for you. The rest of us will shine a light on you. You flourish with courage in your heart to speak with gentle honesty and act with integrity in all you do. You flourish with courage in your heart to speak with gentle honesty and to act with integrity in all you do. And now those that have selected the bird of paradise, you can close your eyes and just allow these beautiful words to flow over you and absorb them under the supreme spiritual sun. You flourish because your golden heart is filled with recognition of the value of others. You flourish because your golden heart is filled with recognition of the value of others. And those of you that selected this beautiful red and purple flower, you can close your eyes now and just allow these words to wash over you like a blessing, filled with divine sun. The rest of us will shower light on you of good wishes. You flourish as a special soul who speaks with such sincerity that your words can penetrate closed ears and unlock broken hearts. You flourish as a special soul who speaks with such sincerity that your words can penetrate closed ears and unlock broken hearts. Those of you that picked this daisy, you can listen now. Under the sun, you flourish with a deep-rooted sense of dignity, which seeks to make things right rather than prove others wrong. You flourish with a deep-rooted sense of dignity, which seeks to make things right rather than prove others wrong. I think we have two more. So those of you who picked the Frangipani, listen to these words as you feel the warmth of the sun on your face, the supreme sun. You flourish because your loyalty to positive outcomes attracts the cooperation and trust of those with whom you work. You flourish because your loyalty to positive outcomes attracts the cooperation and trust of those with whom you work. And last but not least, this Protea as well. You flourish because you have become a true friend to yourself and a source of support in the lives of others. You flourish because you have become a true friend to yourself and a source of support in the lives of others. So take a moment and absorb divine sun into the soul so that we leave this session like a flower in full bloom, and that we continue to blossom with the wisdom of our own lived experience under the Son of God. Om Shanti. Thank you, everyone. I hope that was as enjoyable for you as it was for me. And I will send these blessings to Nita and the team so that they will be able to send you if you would like them. Okay?
On behalf of all of us, Sister Judy, we like to take this opportunity to thank you very much for allowing this time, but such a beautiful, beautiful session of putting in the effort of creativity and emerging such beautiful, beautiful qualities and goodness and lovely seeds so that everyone flourishes so beautifully and continue to radiate and blossom all the time. Many blessings, many, many blessings. Thank you.
And thank you to the South African family who tirelessly provide these beautiful sessions for people. Truly appreciated at this time, I know. So thank you to you all. Go forth and flourish. Go forth and blossom. And yeah, God bless. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Is there any announcement, Sister Nita? Okay.
Driving past the running man, used to measure out my tears. Now I smile and passing by and laugh at most of my fears. Seems so long since I was home. I wonder if I'm different now. Seems you hurt, you lose, you learn. You gotta find your own way out. 100 miles or more to go, and all my favorite songs to get through. I can't wait for it to snow.